So Game Freak is no stranger when it comes to making broken, overpowered Pokemon, and even in this current generation, we have our fair share of stupidly broken ones. But while some of the past ones eventually get the nerf hammer slammed onto them, others are able to shy away from it and still dominate the meta. However, there is one powerful Pokemon that had a dominant spell in their generation but has yet to return in any future games, and because of that fact, it has yet to gain a nerf target on their head. A beast of its kind. It's an abomination created through the unlawful practices of the scientists that created this monstrosity. It continues to tear down any living being that gets in its way. Let's talk about Dracovish. So Sword and Shield has been released and they have quite the selection of new Pokemon, many of which became staples in competitive, like Dragapult, Grimmsnarl, and the overpowered Zacian. But one that many didn't expect at first was one of the brand new fossil Pokemon. Gen 8 introduced 4 fossil Pokemon that decided to take a new approach. Rather than being the whole get a fossil, revive it, and now you got a Pokemon with a rock typing, they did it a bit differently. You instead take 2 fossils, put them together, and create a monster mash equivalent of a child mixing 2 colours of Play-Doh. Only it somehow works. And each fossil represents a type that the fossil Pokemon gains. While these 3 had pretty much no battle prowess, Dracovish was an unexpected monster. Most people who saw this thought, haha, look at this silly looking thing, it's so derpy and goofy. But what they saw was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Or in this case, a dragonfish hybrid clothing. At first glance, Dracovish doesn't scream out being broken. Its water dragon typing is pretty good, and while it has a base stat total of 505, nothing seems to stick out too much. However, once you go through its learn set, something does stick out the most. With it came its signature move, that it also shares with Arctovish, but nobody really cares about that, Vicious Rend. But why does this move stand out the most? Well, to answer that, let's read what it does. It's a water physical attacking move that has a base power of 85 and 100% accuracy, with an effect that states, if the user attacks before the target, the power of this move is doubled, making its base power become 170. But that's not all. Adding in the stab, same type attack bonus, it raises another 50% power, making the move 255 base power. And to top it off, one of the abilities Dracovish gets is Strong Jaw, which makes biting moves 50% stronger. Vicious Rend is a biting move! And now its base power is 382.5. That is crazy. And most players in singles ran this Pokemon with Choice Scarf to boost its speed by 50% and guarantee the boosts. However, if you want to be very extra, you can start the rain, which will increase the power by 50% again, making it 573.75, and add a Choice Band for another 50% boost in attack, and you have one Bite Man. But luckily, the competitive tournament regulators had stepped up. Since Dracovish dominated the competitive scene, things had to change and tournament associates put up a vote on whether Dracovish should be banned. After having a 90% vote to ban, Dracovish was immediately banned from OU tier, sending it over to Ubers, the highest rank in Smogon. And honestly, I don't blame them. The only counters to that fish were Water Absorb, Storm Drain, Stall Toxapex, or a niche Focus Sash Freeze Dry set. And even in VGC, Dracovish was restricted or banned at some point. I couldn't really find too much information about this since I am more of a singles player, and the fact that there isn't a lot of online help for me. But it sure made a shake-up. Hey, didn't you bully a friend of yours in high school by destroying his entire team with it? Sort of. He wanted to battle me, but he barely knew anything about competitive. I still remember him Gigantamaxing his Charizard, only for my Dracovish to one-shot him. He was hella pissed. However, it's not the end of it yet. As many may know, Dracovish is not in Scarlet and Violet, which is a good thing because if that Pokemon could terrestrialize, Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town would need to expand with the sudden rise of corpses. But it has yet to see a nerf to its incredible power, and as Game Freak always does, they only implement balance changes in the next game if they are present. So what is the future of Mr. Fish here? For one, they should not make any stat changes because if you remove Vicious Rend entirely, it's just a decent Pokemon, and Strongjaw is used by other Pokemon too, so that's out of the question. So the only reasonable nerf is on Vicious Rend. And honestly, the best case scenario is for the boost to be lowered by 50%, so it's the equivalent of a stab boost. Other than that, there isn't much needed to really nerf Dracovish, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments on how you would nerf our fishy friend, and I will see you next time. Cheerio everyone.